Wrestling fans, joining me as always, my tag team partner for our fabulous wrestling talk, AEW, Clay Harden. How are you, Clay?
I am. Uh, I'm tired. It's been a long weekend. I was by myself, but and then the show Sunday night, man, it went like 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean it's because they had 9 matches, and we'll get into them here in a second. But obviously, we are talking about God. What was the name of this pay per view? They all run together after a while.
Um, all out, not one all out, all in, double or nothing.
Double or Nothing. That's it.
Yes,
But it was AEW Double or Nothing. Uh, it's kind of weird. You said you were by yourself all weekend because I know what you did Saturday. You actually met the host of the show we just did, Daniel. You got to see him. He's one of those people that walks around with a bullseye on his back, tries to help people out all the time.
I was looking for so a little backstory here. I have a PlayStation 3 that I bought maybe 15 years ago, whenever they came out, and that's the last version I have. But they quit making NCAA football, so I had no need for one. Now it's coming back out, and I knew I was going to buy a PlayStation 5 at some point. However, my whole family was gone this weekend. Billy Lindahl's his family was gone, so I called him and said, "Hey, you want to come over and grill out, and play some football?" So, and I was fixing to destroy him on some NCAA 14, but the PlayStation was in one of my kids' rooms, and I could not find the controllers or the chargers. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just go get a PlayStation 5. So we went to Target and met your buddy, and unfortunately, they didn't have any. So I had to go to the dreaded Walmart that I hate going to.
Shout out
But they
Walmart
had one. They had what I
in
was
case
looking
you want to
for.
sponsor this.
Yes, for real. But they had one, and I bought Madden 24, and I bought the new PGA Road to the Masters, and then I bought the latest NASCAR Heat, which I think is for the PlayStation 4. But anyway, it was fun to play. So I spent the rest of the weekend, other than when we watched the show Sunday night, playing golf on the
Mhm.
PlayStation.
Yep, I was about to say you weren't alone a lot of Saturday, and you weren't alone at least the back part of Sunday because, like you said, not including the pre-show, they had 9 matches. We thought for sure this thing's going to be over by 11:30. I think it was literally about 12:35 when they finally shut the cameras off.
It was at least it was after 12:30. I know that because after I got done cleaning the kitchen, and it was after 1 before I got to bed, which was
Yeah, it
wild.
was pretty close. Same here, but luckily I wasn't doing anything Monday. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah, at least it was a holiday.
Yep, just like we planned it. But as I said, there are 9 matches, and probably 6 of them are worth our time. We'll breeze over the other 3. But they opened up. I wasn't sure how good this match was going to be. I always say the opening match is always the second best match on paper. It's the one you think is going to be just under the main event. And Roddy Strong against Will Ospreay was already borderline 4.5, 5-star match, and then Will Ospreay ends up winning this thing. We were both floored by the fact they gave him the belt.
Well, he's so hot right now, and he's so over. Uh, and they even went further on Wednesday night by letting him win the
Mm-hmm.
casino, whatever they called it.
Yeah, yeah.
Now he'll be facing Swerve at the next pay per view for the title.
Poor Swerve.
If there's one guy right now that AEW has strapped their uh,
The Rocket
everything
too.
to take them back to where they were at a couple years ago, it's Will Ospreay.
Yeah. And like I said, we knew Roddy's pretty good. He's really good at running his mouth. He's pretty good in the ring, but maybe Will just brought it out of him. But this was a really, really good Roderick Strong match.
Well, let's be honest. Will Ospreay can make anyone look good.
Even me.
If you were selected to work a match with Will Ospreay, he would probably make you look like $1,000,000.
I would potentially think about getting in the ring to if Will Ospreay wanted to wrestle. It would be very short, but in a minute and a half, I would look like the future world champ.
Yeah, but you got to learn to sell that Tiger Driver because it's coming back at some point.
Ooh, Man, they're gonna want me to sign a waiver, and I think Tony Khan's still using his neck brace, so I would need to find another one.
uh, yeah, Roddy had hats off to him. He carried his weight for that entire match, way better than I thought he was going
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And like we said, Osprey ended up with the win. Just fantastic performance by Osprey. And then, like you said, he followed it up Wednesday night by running the gauntlet. I think he was like the third or fourth person in of like an 8-man gauntlet, and he was one of the feeder guys that no matter who came in, he'd run right at him.
to. Yep. Well, it was supposed to be 21. There were 21 entrants in it, but the first one to score, pinfall, it's over.
Yeah,
And they had some the
CMLL.
Mexican CMLL. They had some CMLL guys that were
Yep.
really getting after it. They had some New Japan guys that were really getting after it.
Yeah.
And I think it was more of a, Will's going to be our next challenger for the championship, but how can we get our fans familiar with some of these other people that they're going to see on the pay per view?
Right.
And this is a way to do it.
I thought it was well done. I mean, you could have actually put if you didn't have the Roderick Strong angle that you were running on the pay per view, you could have put that match on the pay per view, and it would have been just as good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like we said, Osprey ends up with the win. He's next guy up versus Swerve. Tons we can get into in a couple weeks before that one happens. But up next, they did Tony Storm against Serena Deeb. Deeb did her usual stuff we thought would happen, but Tony Storm kind of wiped the floor with her.
Yeah, and I figured that was probably coming. She needs Britt Baker back, or Saraya, or somebody that's on her
Becky
level.
Lynch.
What's up with Becky Lynch? Is she leaving WWE? That's like 10 times. And last week you mentioned her.
I mean, without getting into all that me and Daniel did on the last show, that everybody should go back and watch. Her contract is coming up soon. Seth's is too. We kind of get into that too, but there's a lot of dream opponents that both of them could have in AEW that
There's
I
no
think it would be
way
worth.
no way Tony Khan has enough money to sign both of them.
Not both of them. Yeah, I think he gets one. I think he gets Becky, honestly.
But I say this: wherever one goes, they're gonna go together.
Maybe. We'll see how it works.
That's just my
But
opinion.
yeah, I kind of said that too because they're kind of a package deal. But yeah, Storm needs Brett Baker or Jamie Hayter or one of these people we haven't seen in a long time. I mean, because she went right past Deanna Perrazzo, so that's the other person that's similar to her level. At this point, you kind of got to give Storm somebody.
Was that the match? Did Luther get ejected from that match? Or they were they never did it, because we kept talking about the power the referee has. That's the only power he really has.
Yeah.
But I don't think he ever ejected that match. Luther, this is the best gig Luther's ever had,
Oh yeah.
and I hope they keep it going where he's her butler or whatever they're calling him.
Outside of starring as Quasimodo in the middle school play, this is the best performance he's ever had.
Yeah, and he don't have to say anything. He just makes
No,
goofy facial expressions and watches Tony Storm change clothes.
he's doing such a good job that TNA has ripped it with a completely different stupid thing they're doing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I agree. It's time for Britt to come back. It's time for Jamie Hayter, somebody that can go toe to toe with Storm on her level right now. She's in AEW what Rhea Ripley was before the injury in WWE, where she's just on a different level, and she's not she's up in the clubhouse. She's not letting the ladder down and letting just anybody up there with her.
Not only in the ring, but her character that she's
Oh
she's
yeah.
playing to a T.
This is unbelievable. I mean, I'm sure this just happened. She was probably at a barbecue and just started breaking into character, and probably Juice Robinson, her other half, not her better half, her other half, probably said, "Do that. You should do that
Yeah,
right there."
there's nothing about Juice Robinson better than Tony Storm ever.
Yeah, agree. I tried to find some. I tried to help you, Juice, and there's nothing. There's nothing.
No.
She's don't let her out the door.
Yeah, he's he way out kicked his coverage. I'll say that.
Yeah, good for him. They knew each other from NXT though, I think, or Florida Championship or whatever it's called at that point. Both
Yeah.
of them failed prospects from WWE. That's crazy.
Well, there's a lot of stars at AEW that were failed prospects at WWE. Britt Baker's one of them. She was a jobber,
Yep.
and now AEW made her a star.
Yep. Well, they gave her the platform, and she reached up and grabbed that brass ring and put it around her neck.
Yeah, she really did a good job with it. She never really got the. I don't know what if WWE didn't see anything in her or what. She never got the opportunity to even showcase anything because she was always just she would come in and work a 2 minute match and get her teeth kicked out.
Yep.
But they did put her through medical school.
They did. They did. They paid for probably 80% of her dentist school.
And she went while she had nothing to do while she was working for NXT.
Yep. And then finished up while she was in AEW. It was genius. I mean, her and Xavier Woods figured out how to get high esteemed degrees while still wrestling.
Yep.
I think Xavier Woods has a PhD in something, but uh, they follow it. We're gonna get to the returns. There were 3 returns on this night. We're gonna get to those in a minute. I'm gonna go through the card first. You get Adam Copeland. You might remember him as Edge. I know it's always confusing that didn't transfer, but he took on Malachi, another failed WWE project. And the only thing that really surprised me out of this, besides the fact that Copeland apparently took his backstage advice from whoever gave it to him to break a leg, literally, is that Malachi didn't win this match. It was set up for him to win it, and they just didn't give it to him.
Well, had they known he was going to break his leg, I'm sure he would have. Because now they got a tournament to crown a new champion, and they were talking. Well, they didn't really mention last night, but I've read reports that it's going to be somewhere on the lines of 3 to 5 months before he's back. Edge, that is,
Yeah,
Adam Copeland.
yeah. I'd heard, and it's just because he went to jump off the top of the cage, and I don't know what possessed him to suddenly put his feet down at the end and not just come flat, but he come down and he come down like this and kind of slapped at Malachi on the table, and I Ed just went through, I don't know, 50 tables, and that's the stupidest I've ever seen him hit one.
But had enough force to break the table,
Oh yeah,
even though he didn't land on it, which was that tells you how hard of a lick it was. And
yeah.
the fact that he, with that broken ankle, finished the match, and I never knew he was hurt. I
I
mean, he was
mean,
limp.
yeah. We knew he did something. I figured he jammed his knee or something like that, the way he hit, because he just hit and kind of wiggled a second, and then he just went right back at it. But no, he legit broke it.
And then I think you nailed it with I think you said Gangrel was going to come out from somewhere. We didn't know it was out from under the ring, but
Yeah.
you called that one about 10 minutes before it happened.
Well, it's because when he came out, it said something along the lines of brooding or the brood or something
It
across
had the
the
brood on.
screen.
Yeah, it had the brood under his logo.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wouldn't that be great? Gangrel make an appearance or something. Then all of a sudden, when everybody starts staring at the ring and then he breaks through it, and I said, oh, there he is.
But it's odd to me that WWE don't have any kind of rights to the name The Brood or Gangrel.
I think it's because like the brood is surprising, but Gangrel was that on the indie scene. I think he trademarked it before he got to them.
And most of the time when somebody trademarks their name, Vince wouldn't let them use that trademark name in
Right.
WWE. He would always give them a
Right.
WWE name.
Yep.
But he did it with AJ Styles, and he did it with Samoa Joe. There's a couple he did it with,
Yep.
and I think it was because they said they weren't coming unless he agreed to it. But Gangrel wasn't never what I would call top tier, back in the
No.
day. So I don't know how he
No.
got.
He was always mid tier.
Yeah,
But other than that, I thought it was a solid match. We saw the possible, Brody and Buddy potentially swapping sides, like I thought could happen, and then they just turn on Copeland, which was kind of funny. But I just felt like this was probably Malachi's best chance to really, just take the reins of this and step up a level. And I thought he did match wise, but they just didn't give him the nod in the end.
yeah. Maybe they're not ready for him yet, for whatever reason.
You
You know,
know,
he's a good worker. He works some great matches.
yeah, definitely so. And then, of course, that led to what we knew was going to be good. You had John Moxley taking on Konosuke Takeshita. This it just like Takeshita keeps getting put against these type opponents that just show how good and how well rounded he really is. That he, give him a year or two, and he's going to be in title contention.
A hard hitting match. It was very entertaining. If you like, if you wanted technical, Ric Flair style wrestling, this wasn't your match. This was just a banger. Both of them's chests were whelped up and bloodshot,
Oh,
and it was just a banger of a match, which is exactly what I knew it would be.
oh yeah. And I mean, we're going to see more of these down the road involving these two guys, among others as well. But like I said, it shows that the AEW kind of the part of the roster that's that strong style, basically that New Japan strong style, is just top tier. Like there's not a bunch of smaller guys that are into that. It's all those guys that'll just have banger matches, are just over the top.
And shout out to Don Callis for getting his guy Wednesday night too. By the
Oh yeah, I mean,
way,
because that leads into the next match, that Trent versus Orange was kind of I think even I'm not sure even Orange would give that a thumbs up. Maybe one sideways. It was all right. The two can work, but the best part of this whole match was what happened Wednesday, because I was going to tie that into it when Callis tries to offer Orange the contract to join the Callis family, and Orange tears it up and all but flicks him off without flicking him off, and then Trent just tears Orange into many, many little pieces like the contract is. Looks like Trent's the next guy in the Callis family.
I didn't know this, so I saw an old clip from maybe '96. But Don Callis was in the WWE as the Jackal.
Yep.
I forgot all about that.
Yep.
He was like a cult leader, played the piano, and it was looking back on it now, he played it pretty flawlessly.
It's one of those forgotten WWE things, like when Scott Levy, otherwise known as Raven, was Johnny Polo, and he was a manager for the Quebecers, and people don't even remember that at all.
Yes, yes. But what brought it back to me was I saw a match, maybe it's on TikTok or Twitter. Anyway, I saw a match where the Jackal's coming out of the ceiling, sitting there playing a piano, and he's speaking to the crowd, and there's a match going on. And Bowden's own Bull Buchanan is involved in the match that
Yeah.
is taking place under him while he's up there on this piano playing and talking to the crowd. And then I
Yeah.
forgot. I said, "Oh, that's Don Callis." I forgot he was the Jackal.
I remember that. That was because even at times you see the wrestlers in the match just kind of go, like, what in
Well,
WCW is
I,
above me?
I remember thinking that's pretty good concentration for them to keep at the match, knowing he's hanging right there and he never shuts up. He talks the whole time.
No, he never stops talking. But other than that, like I said, the match was still good because those two can work. But knowing what it worked to for the payoff that was Wednesday actually makes this match a little better.
Yeah, had he joined the Callis family beforehand, it would have made the match a little more meaningful.
Yeah,
Maybe they should have had that segment last Wednesday.
yeah. Maybe they forgot about it and stuck it on this week's instead.
So the match would have made more sense at that point.
Yeah. But other than that, like I said, solid match. And then we got uh the learning tree of Chris Jericho with his good buddy Bill versus Hook versus Shibata. We knew this was going to be a little bit of a cluster, a little bit of a mess. It wasn't bad. There was some good spots. Them using dice. When I totally called the dice, when he picked up the bag and shook it like that, I said, "That's dice." I know the sound of dice a mile away. And them being in Vegas, it was an interesting touch. We said it that day too. I would much rather go through twice as many thumbtacks as I would 3 or 4 dice.
It's like stepping on Legos.
Yeah. Or in the case of my dad, jacks. There's a reason why, as a kid, I only had jacks for about a week and a half, and it's because I
Them
left a
jacks,
couple on the floor, and my dad's foot found them, and I never had jacks again.
yeah, them things will go through your foot.
Yeah, that's what he said. He said he about had to get pliers to get them out one time, and he said, "Yep, you're not having any more."
Yeah, I don't blame him. But my kids grew up in the Lego, like everything was Lego, Lego Star Wars, Lego Spider Man, Lego Batman, Lego whatever, Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego,
Mhm.
like Lego everything. So the whole time they were 3 to 11, 12 years old, there was Legos all over my house, and we would put them to bed when they were little, and then we would do uh, a scan from the bed to the bathroom and from the bed to the kitchen
Yep,
to make sure that in the middle of the night nobody steps on Lego.
right.
There's nothing like
But
waking your kids up with some 4-letter words because you stepped on a Lego.
hey, but at that point they deserve them because even as a kid and an adult, I have stepped on Legos before, and I was like, I get it, we're good. Don't need to teach me that again.
It's rough. It's rough.
But like I say, it was an okay match because these guys can work. I think it really did expose Hook a little bit that he was the odd man out by far, and it's because he's relatively new. Shibata is I mean, he's in his late 30s or early 40s. I thought we figured out, and Jericho in his kind of early 50s, I think, or something like that. So they've been wrestling 20.
56.
Yeah, that was it. 56. That's crazy. That makes me feel real old because I remember almost his entire career. But
Been wrestling professional since he was 17.
yeah, and being good at it since it.
Yep.
But he retains, which makes the most sense. I mean, obviously, at some point, losing the FTW belt back to Hook makes sense because that's Taz's belt and that's Taz's kid. But I like if Jericho kind of goes on a magical mystery tour for a minute and faces a bunch of other people and then loses it.
So here's the best thing about Jericho with the FTW Championship. Um, I like the fact that he comes out to the crowd. He comes out waving to the crowd like he's Mr. Congeniality. And then he's changed the name of it to For the World.
Yep.
And then now he's claiming he's the longest reigning For the World champion in history, which
I
is
mean, he is. If you rename the belt, nobody else has called it the For the World belt. He's the only person to have it, so he's not lying.
and Jericho comes up with every bit of this.
The learning tree that I mean, next week it might be something else. He might be the ruler of Jupiter, and he'll just go with it.
You remember he had only like a 3-week run where he was the wizard. He's throwing fireballs in people's faces.
I'm a wizard. I'll throw a fireball in your face.
Yes. Yeah,
Thank goodness he got away from that.
Jericho's awesome. I just wished he would quit wrestling tights.
Yeah, but what was he supposed to wear?
Pants.
Oh,
Jericho
you
needs
mean the
pants.
full pants, not the trunks.
Yes. Yes. I'm
And
talking about the
he can do the veteran wrestler thing and wear a shirt too. That'd be great.
that don't bother me, but the tights, like Ric Flair still looked decent in tights till he was, in his 60s.
It's true. That's true.
Jericho does not.
No.
He needs to go back to the pants.
Yeah. And I look forward to what they're going to do with this. I think this is really a way to groom Big Bill to be a bigger star for AEW than it is. I think that's his project now. And now they've added the whole reason he won was because now they got the bounty hunter back or in with them, and that's going to help him too because he needed something. They signed him and then they let him job out ever since.
What's his Brian Lee or Brian Keith or
Brian
Keith
Keith,
Lee or
Brian Keith, Brian
Brian
Keith, I
Keith?
think.
Okay. Yeah, if you never watched Ring of Honor, you weren't familiar with him anyway. So
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna go somewhere with him, sticking with Jericho. If you're not gonna do anything with him, it don't make any sense. Bill does, because if I was running that show, Bill would have the heavyweight championship around his waist. Nobody would get it from him.
Yeah, he'd be real close. I'd have to give him a run with it. I mean, honestly, he should have Wardlow's spot.
Yes, he's way more imposing than Morty.
Oh yeah. Got about 9.5 minutes left. You get the Bang Bang Gang versus Death Triangle. This didn't expose the guns as much as I thought it would.
I
They've
thought they did a
gotten a
good
little
job.
they've more than held their own, but Death Triangle is just so good. It is hard for anybody to go move for move with them.
Well, it really is, and you know, Pac can be he can flip and fly and do whatever with the Lucha Brothers, but he can also stand there and bang with you too. He's
Oh
a
yeah,
heavy hitter.
yeah. I think him and Moxley should have a couple matches together.
That would be great if Moxley wasn't a foot and a half taller.
He might be longer than that. But like good match. It's just setting up that they need to get their trio stuff up and going a little bit more than they have them. They got away from the Acclaim for now, so we'll kind of see what the Bang Bang Gang does now that Juice Robinson, who gets his second mention on this show, uh, now that he's back, if they let Jay White kind of go into his solo run stuff and the three of them do the trio stuff.
I think you're gonna still see group stuff. Juice is, I mean, he's okay as a solo guy, but he's better in a group, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
by far, by far.
Um,
Uh,
maybe maybe kick Jay White out and let him be in with the Bang Bang Gang, and let because Jay was a much better solo guy.
yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Uh, let's do the main event, and then we'll kick back into that and talk about the few returns. 'Cause I think the returns almost stole the show.
You ain't gonna talk
Uh,
about the TBS championship?
did I did I not write that down?
Uh-uh.
I didn't write that on there, did I?
Let me summarize for you.
All right.
It was in Sasha's contract to win a title in her first match. That happened. And the best thing that came out of the match was the Chris Statlander heel turn.
Absolutely, because they continued it on Wednesday and made it even better.
Yes, it was that. I love a good heel turn.
Yep. And her and Stokely are going to be fantastic.
Yep.
She might
But
be in the title picture faster than Willow.
as far as the match goes, if
Willow
you
did
don't,
everything she could. Willow did everything she could to make chicken salad out of that, and instead it was a big pile of chicken poop.
and I'm not a big fan of Sasha Banks or whatever Mercedes Monet.
Mercedes Monet. Yeah.
I'm hoping Tony Khan has buyer's remorse right now.
Yeah. Um, Man, I didn't even write that down. I guess we didn't even talk. Well, we didn't even talk about it the first time around, which we didn't really need to. But let's go Swerve versus Christian. Christian continues to prove that he's one of the best, not only heels, but still one of the best talents that AEW has with all the stuff he brings to the table, even without the group. The group was fantastic, but everything that went into this, we knew Swerve was coming out of it. Swerve brought his A game. This was a main event that really capped off this show.
Yeah, it was very entertaining. And Christian, any match he's in, take my money. I love watching Christian work
Oh yeah,
at any angle, and he's way better as a heel than he is a face. When he
oh
first
yeah,
came in, I had him as a face. He was fighting Kenny Omega for the title, and when he was on his heel run, but he's way better as a heel.
oh yeah. And the whole father figure thing, it's one of the most genius things he's done.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
But Swerve retains. He's going to move on to apparently take on Will Ospreay at the next one, as we said. What do you think of Stadium Stampede? I mean, outside of Perry being, I mean, his performance was just on fire, and then at one point he was too, and then he got the pinfall. It's kind of like the whole thing was to kind of tear as much stuff up as you can, and then feature Jack Perry.
So I said something when he came back from the truck wreck. Like he disappeared. He's not the one that got run over. He was driving the truck. He ran into a pile of cardboard boxes, and he was slumped over the steering wheel. And then Darby somehow comes out of the wreckage and gets back in the fight. When Jack came in, I told you he had oil or something all over his pants. So that's not water. It looks too shiny to be water. And turns out, he was the only one that was in street looking clothes. And I'm
Yep.
pretty sure it was some kind of fire retardant clothes that he had on. And they had some kind of coating on it. So the coating would burn and not the actual material under it. But they
Yep.
got him put out pretty quick. But when you set somebody on fire in an uncontrolled environment, which wrestling is control, but it's about the least amount of control you can have in
Yeah.
a controlled environment. But the fact that they even attempted it was pretty wild to me. But that's not the wildest thing that I thought happened. The wildest thing was when they hung Darby Allin up by his feet and put spiked shoes on it, and super kicked him in the face. And I went
Yeah.
back and watched the replay about 50
Oh,
times.
they got it.
They
They got it.
sent it. Yeah, they sent it. And
Yeah.
I can't believe that he agreed to hang upside down, let him kick him in the face with spiked shoes. I just can't believe it.
I mean, I don't know where you go from there. We could take an hour and a half and not come up with something that could top that. So I don't know where you go with all that. I like that that Team Elite won. It makes the most sense going forward. Um, but we only got about 3.5 minutes left. So let's talk about those returns. Now, as soon as the first match was over, all of a sudden we hear the boom, and here comes Adam Cole, and you're like, oh man, Adam Cole's man, we're only waiting on one other guy to come back. And then Mr. Burberry Scarf himself, MJF, makes an appearance. And now, if you're Swerve Strickland, you might as well just turn the title in because those two are about to light the summer on fire.
I thought it was going to be like Adam Cole's back, and then we're going to haunt him with some videos for a couple weeks or maybe three
Yeah,
weeks before MJF comes back. And then it shows the the phone footage through the house and then into the bedroom, and then the scarf's hanging there. And it's MJF. And then the video goes off, and they're showing like I thought we're going to do this for 3 or 4 weeks, and
yeah.
then his music hits,
And you're
and he
like,
comes and he comes down to the ring, and this is going to be, I don't know, the best version of AEW has Adam Cole and MJF, and them feuding with each other is going to be awesome.
see, we'll get into this subject more, but imagine Seth Rollins in the middle of that. That's what I'm saying. That and throwing Will Ospreay between those four, that's a year's worth of programs.
Yeah, there's no way. Like as much as I love MJF, he's better as a heel. I know he's their biggest face right now, but he's going to go. He's going to go to that Austin face run of
Yep.
the late '90s, where he's the anti, establishment, the anarchy. Tells everybody to, what he thinks and what they can kiss, but the fans are going to love it.
I,
But
I think he's going to be part of what takes out the Team Elite that in order to help Tony Khan, and then he's going to turn around and drop Tony Khan and go, yeah, I don't like you any more than they do, but I just don't like them just as much.
but how about the fact that he got an AEW tattoo on the back of his calf?
Yeah, that I did not see that coming.
But however, he did come down the ring in a Triple H jacket.
He did. He very much. And looks like he did not skip gym day the entire time he's been out.
Oh, he's huge. Looks
He
better
is
than
ripped.
he's ever looked.
Yeah, and it all looks healthy. It doesn't look like substance related.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Oh no, he's a worker in the weight room.
Yeah. But got about a minute left. Out of 5 stars, what do you give this show?
Overall, I give it a 3.5, just because it had Sasha Banks on it.
Yeah.
Um, I need less of her on my TV. But there were some good 4-star matches, and the Osprey and Roger Strong match, I give it 4 stars, and then the Anarchy in the Arena, I give it 4 stars, just
Yeah.
based solely off of an entertainment value.
I like the 3.5. I mean, just to be different, I'd give it a 3 3/4 star, may almost a 4. Just they just had way too many matches, and I agree. The fact that I had to watch Mercedes Moné in the ring and I had to listen to her talk, I'm gonna automatically drop you at least a star just for that. And I'm glad that I record most of the shows so that I can fast forward through those. But we've reached the end of the show. So for my tag team partner, Clay Harden, I am Jeremy York. This has been fabulous wrestling talk, AEW Double or Nothing. We will see you guys next time. Deuces, gooses.